Imagine handing the keys to, your company's most sensitive mission-critical databases to an employee who, well, isn't human.
Right, just a piece of software.
Exactly. You give them a task, you walk away, and you just trust them to execute it over the next, 3 days.
Which is terrifying for most IT teams.
Oh, totally. And today, if you look at the 2026 Agent Confidence Index, 59% of AI builders say their absolute biggest priority, and frankly, their biggest fear isn't that their AI won't work.
Right.
It's keeping a human in the loop. The top concern is that they literally won't be able to stop the system once it starts.
Which is a profound shift in how we think about software in general.
Yeah.
For decades, we built tools that just waited for our instructions, like
Right.
a slightly sharper knife in the drawer. But now we're moving to systems that take autonomous action on our behalf.
They're doing the chopping for you.
Exactly. And builders want the incredible efficiency of these new AI agents, but, they're terrified of losing the oversight.
Well, welcome to this deep dive. If you're trying to stay ahead of the curve and, bypass the relentless information overload, you are definitely in the right place.
Glad to be here for it.
Today, we are taking a massive stack of technical updates. Specifically, this is a collection of random technical news you can use from the desk of Andrew Kagan's weekly newsletter, and we're extracting that absolute signal from the noise.
And there is a lot of noise out there right now.
So much. We are going to traverse the whole map today. We're looking at Azure infrastructure, Microsoft 365, Power Platform, DevOps, data, security, learning, and just broader industry trends.
Yeah, it's a packed newsletter this week.
It really is. But we aren't just, reading a list. There is a very specific narrative unfolding here across all these updates.
Yeah, the undeniable thread tying all of this week's news together is this massive industry pivot toward agentic AI.
Right.
We've moved way past passive chatbots that just summarize a PDF for you. We are firmly in the era of AI systems executing complex, really long-running workflows.
The agents are taking over.
Basically, yeah. And the urgent, overarching theme across all this news is how we govern, secure, and actually understand these autonomous agents before they just, completely overrun our digital environments.
Let's start right there, actually, with the macro picture around data, analytics, and industry trends. Because that 59% statistic from the Agent Confidence Index is just wild to me.
It's a huge number.
It is. Surveying 300 builders and finding out that human-in-the-loop oversight ranks higher for them than, better observability or governance documentation.
Yeah.
It basically tells you that the people building the rockets are the ones who are most worried about the steering wheel.
That's a great way to put it. It's a remarkably mature stance for an industry moving at, light speed right now.
For sure.
They know that with more choice comes way more potential for chaos. And they're getting a lot more choice right now. For instance, the newsletter highlights that Anthropic's Claude models are now generally available in Microsoft Foundry.
Oh, wow. So not just OpenAI models anymore.
Exactly. That is a huge expansion of enterprise model choice.
Mm-hmm.
But, when every department in a massive company starts building custom agents using all these different models, you run straight into that governance dilemma we mentioned.
Right, because how do you maintain that human-in-the-loop control when you have, thousands of custom agents running around?
You have to separate the duties.
Okay.
And looking at how Microsoft is attempting to solve this, it looks like they're splitting the problem into two totally distinct control planes.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have the Foundry control plane on one side and Agent 365 on the other, right?
Yep, those are the two.
Help me visualize this. Is this essentially like a high-tech racing team where the Foundry control plane is the mechanic's garage tuning the engine and Agent 365 is like the traffic cop out on the track making sure the car doesn't break the speed limit?
Let's run with that analogy, yeah, because separating the creation from the governance really is the only way to prevent total agent sprawl.
So Foundry is the garage.
Right. The Foundry control plane is designed explicitly for the developers, your mechanics. That is the environment where you build, evaluate, trace, and deploy the agents.
Makes sense.
It's where developers make sure the AI actually does what it's supposed to do, and it integrates directly with Defender for Cloud to secure the agent's underlying code.
But the mechanic shouldn't be the one writing the traffic laws.
Precisely. And that brings us to Agent 365, which is built for the IT admins, your traffic cops.
Ah, okay.
It's designed to discover, secure, and govern agents sprawl across the entire organization, completely, regardless of who built the agent.
So it's like a central dashboard for every agent in the company.
Yeah. Agent 365 tells IT who owns a specific agent, what company data it actually has access to, and if its actions comply with overarching company policy.
Okay, so if we have the garage building the agents and the traffic cop policing them, what happens when these mechanics actually put these tools to work in the trenches?
Well, things get very efficient, very fast.
Let's look at software development and DevOps, because Kagan highlights that Microsoft is taking a customer zero approach here.
Right, drinking their own champagne.
Exactly. And the numbers here are honestly staggering.
They really are. Take the Azure SRE agent. So SRE stands for Site Reliability Engineering.
Right, the folks who keep the servers running.
Exactly. Historically, when a cloud server went down or a service degraded, an engineer had to, manually dig through thousands of lines of logs just to find the needle in the haystack.
Sounds miserable.
It is. But Microsoft delegated that incident response toil to an agentic workflow. This agent continuously investigates incidents, reasoning across operational signals in real time.
And what was the result?
By doing the heavy lifting, it has saved Microsoft over 50,000 developer hours.
Wait, 50,000 hours?
Yep. 50,000 hours of just staring at logs, completely gone.
That is insane. And it's not just fixing operational bugs, right? I saw that Microsoft's One ES, the One Engineering System, is unleashing agentic AI to tackle security and compliance migrations across, thousands of code repositories.
Yeah, these are complex tasks that usually take weeks, if not months, of manual coordination.
And they're seeing an 80 to 90% accuracy rate with the agents, which translates to a 55% reduction in manual developer toil.
Which is massive for developer morale. But, to support that kind of massive automation, the underlying architecture has to evolve. The newsletter points out new guidance on using WebMCP to build long-running model context protocol tools directly on Azure Functions.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. WebMCP, model context protocol tools on Azure Functions. For the listener who maybe isn't a hardcore cloud architect, what does that actually mean, and why does an agent even need it?
Fair question. So think of Model Context Protocol, or MCP, as a universal standardized translator. It's what lets an AI agent securely talk to your local data sources or your internal tools.
Okay, so it's the bridge.
Right. And normally, AI interactions are really quick and synchronous. You ask a question, you get an answer.
Like chatting with standard ChatGPT.
Exactly. But what if you ask an agent to audit 1 million lines of code, cross-reference it with a compliance database, and rewrite the vulnerable sections?
That's going to take a while.
Right. It takes a lot of time. So by hosting these MCP tools on Azure Functions, developers can build durable, long-running processes. The agent can work in the background for hours or even days to complete a complex task without timing out.
Wow. Okay. I completely get using these long-running agents to fix code in the background or handle a server incident.
Well,
But the newsletter also shifts to the Power Platform and Dynamics 365.
yeah, this is where it gets spicy.
Very. It highlights a new Dataverse plugin that unleashes coding agents directly onto high-value enterprise data. And it mentions the Power BI desktop bridge is in preview, which allows external apps and agents to interact directly with Power BI desktop.
Yep.
I have to push back on this. Letting autonomous agents loose on highly sensitive business data in Dataverse and, financial dashboards in Power BI,
I know where you're going with this.
doesn't that risk our IT traffic cop losing total control? If an agent can just manipulate a financial dashboard, that feels incredibly dangerous.
It is a very valid concern, and it's exactly why the 59% of builders from the survey are so anxious. But what's fascinating here is that what's fundamentally shifting is the interface, but the underlying rules are actually not.
How do you mean?
Yes, we're moving from point-and-click software to natural language workflows, and that abstraction can totally feel like a loss of control. But trust and data stewardship, they remain non-negotiable.
So how does the traffic cop actually stop the agent from accessing, say, a confidential HR dashboard in Power BI?
Because those coding agents interacting with Dataverse or Power BI, they don't get a free pass.
Yeah.
They are bound by the exact same governance rules, sensitivity labels, and access controls established in Agent 365 and Microsoft Purview.
Oh, I see.
The agent essentially inherits the security clearance of the human who deployed it. So if you don't have access to the HR dashboard, your agent doesn't either.
Okay, that is a huge relief.
Right. The traffic cop is still directing the intersection. They're just directing automated vehicles now instead of manual ones.
Okay, the agent inherits my clearance. It can't bypass my own permissions. That definitely makes sense. But if we are suddenly unleashing thousands of these, highly governed autonomous agents to analyze all our data, the actual servers running them must be under immense strain.
Oh, absolutely. The compute load is staggering.
So how is the underlying cloud infrastructure adapting to this traffic jam? Let's look at the Azure and Microsoft 365 focus areas.
On the Azure side, John Saville's update in the newsletter flags something really crucial called WebIQ.
WebIQ, okay.
Yeah, this is part of Microsoft IQ, which previously focused on helping AI reason over your internal enterprise data. But WebIQ now brings real-time internet context directly into those enterprise models.
So the agents can browse the web now.
Basically. So your agents aren't just limited to your internal SharePoint files. They can securely cross-reference internal plans with live, real-world internet data, all without breaking the security boundary.
That is powerful. And what about the physical traffic routing? The newsletter mentions the app Gateway for Containers Inferencing Gateway is now in preview.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Right. But seriously, if I'm hosting a custom AI model, why do I need a special gateway for AI traffic compared to just normal web traffic?
Look, it really comes down to how heavy the workload is. This gateway is currently available in Sweden Central, by the way, and supports ARM64 nodes, which are highly efficient processors.
Good to know.
But if you're hosting custom AI models on an Azure Kubernetes service cluster, let's say you're a healthcare company running a proprietary model to analyze patient records, regular web traffic load balancers, just look at whether a server is healthy or not.
Just a binary yes or no.
Exactly. But AI traffic is different. Some prompts take massive amounts of compute to generate an answer, while others take very little.
Oh, right. Asking it to write a poem versus analyzing a 1,000-page medical file.
Exactly. So a normal load balancer might accidentally send a massive AI prompt to a server that is already choking on a heavy workload.
Just completely overloading it.
Exactly the problem. This inferencing gateway understands the specific signals of AI requests. It can look at the incoming traffic and route it intelligently to less saturated replicas in your cluster.
Oh, that's smart.
It ensures your custom AI apps don't bottleneck when, everyone in the company tries to use them at 9:00 a.m. on a Monday.
To make room for all this new AI infrastructure, it looks like Azure is also doing some housekeeping. The newsletter notes Azure Blueprints are retiring in January 2027.
Yep, you'll need to migrate to deployment stacks, which offer a much more integrated way to manage the lifecycle of your Azure resources.
And the AV36 node for the Azure VMware solution is retiring in September 2027, right?
Yeah, because it's not compatible with the next-gen VMware Cloud Foundation 9 platform. It's just a good reminder that clearing out technical debt is a prerequisite for scaling AI.
Makes sense. And that scaling directly impacts the daily worker experience, which brings us to Microsoft 365. It seems like the administration of AI is getting incredibly serious here.
Very serious. We now have a Copilot cost management dashboard in the M365 Admin Center. This is vital for admins handling usage-based billing, specifically for Copilot Cowork.
Because if you have long-running agents, you have the potential for very long-running bills.
Precisely. You can now allocate credits, set spending policies, and most importantly, establish hard caps.
Thank goodness for hard caps.
Right. It prevents a scenario where a runaway agent just gets stuck in a loop and racks up a massive cloud computing bill over the weekend.
Nobody wants that Monday morning surprise.
Absolutely not. And those purview security controls we mentioned earlier, they now extend directly to Cowork interactions. So all the audit logging, sensitivity label inheritance, and e-discovery that applies to everything your agent does.
Let's talk about where the actual humans are doing their work, though, because there are some massive updates to Viva Engage.
Oh, yeah.
It is moving natively into the Teams left rail. You can just drag and drop your communities right next to your chats and channels so you don't have to switch apps constantly.
Which is a huge time saver.
Totally. They're also rolling out new event types, so broadcasts, community meetings, async AMAs, and they're bringing in analytics like click-through rates and dwell time. But I have to say, my absolute favorite update here solves a massive pain point.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
The smart notifications.
Yes. If you are listening to this, you probably know the exact anxiety of getting pinged on Teams via email and on your phone all at the exact same time just because someone liked an announcement you posted.
It's the worst.
Microsoft is rolling out a new 2-hour delay logic for Engage notifications. It prioritizes your primary channel, say Teams, and then deliberately delays secondary channels like email by 2 hours.
It's brilliant.
It is. It's like having a great executive assistant who politely holds your calls instead of tapping you on the shoulder on 3 different devices every time someone just gives a thumbs up.
Yeah.
It completely prevents that horrible notification bombardment.
It respects the user's attention, which is arguably our most finite resource right now.
100%.
And on a similar note of just reducing friction, Teams mobile users will notice that PowerPoint and Excel previews are now significantly faster and more reliable.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, even when dealing with information rights management protected files, the files that are heavily encrypted to prevent unauthorized sharing.
Okay, so we've explored building these autonomous agents, we've integrated them into our sensitive data, and we've upgraded the cloud infrastructure and the daily apps to handle the load. But this brings us to a really critical pivot.
The security side.
Yes. Because these agents can take autonomous action, the security threat landscape isn't just evolving, it is morphing into something entirely new. Let's look at the security, compliance, and privacy updates, alongside learning and certifications.
The newsletter highlights a timeline acceleration here that should frankly make every IT professional sit up straight. Microsoft is accelerating its timeline for the shift to post-quantum cryptography to 2029, starting heavily with identity and credentials.
So I read that and immediately got stuck. Post-quantum cryptography sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie.
It really does.
But if Microsoft is accelerating this massive cryptographic overhaul to 2029, does that mean the threat of quantum computers breaking our current passwords is no longer theoretical? Like, is it knocking on the door right now?
The threat model has officially shifted from someday to today.
Wow.
And it's driven by a very specific concept known in the cybersecurity world as harvest now, decrypt later.
Okay, what does that mean? How does that work?
Think of our current encryption like a massive, unbreakable safe. Bad actors, nation states, sophisticated hacking groups, they're stealing huge troves of these encrypted safes right now over the internet.
Even though they can't open them?
Right, they don't have the combination, and honestly, they don't care. They're hoarding them because they know that in 2029, a new type of drill, a quantum computer, is coming to market that will just slice through that safe door in 2 seconds.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Accelerating to 2029 reflects the reality that the hardware is actually catching up to the theory.
And why start with credentials and passwords specifically?
Because if a quantum computer breaks a standard password hash, it doesn't matter how good your perimeter firewall is. The attacker doesn't break in, they just log in.
Right.
Securing identity is the absolute most critical first step an enterprise can take today.
That is deeply unsettling. But it's not just future quantum threats. The AI agent threats are happening right this second.
Yeah, they are.
Kagan's newsletter flagged a real-world incident where a fake AI agent skill managed to pass standard security scans and reach 26,000 agents before it was caught.
Which perfectly illustrates the urgent need for zero-trust security, specifically tailored for AI agents.
Because they can take action.
Exactly. Historically, if malware got into a system, it might try to steal data. But when an agent moves from just reading data to taking action like drafting an email, updating a database, or modifying code, a compromised skill means the attacker is taking those actions on your behalf.
Using your trusted agent as the disguise.
Yep. The attack surface is just exploding.
We also saw reports of a Chromium extension that spoofed the Perplexity AI brand to hijack browser search traffic. There was a vulnerability in the ChatGPT file download flow that could be abused by malicious sites to access local system files.
Just endless vectors.
And on the traditional cybersecurity front, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed a breach of their HSIN platform, the Homeland Security Information Network, which is used for sharing sensitive threat data.
That's a big win.
Yeah, and for the penetration testers tasked with finding all these holes, Kali Linux 2026.2 just dropped with 9 brand new tools.
The fact that Kali Linux, which is the industry standard operating system for ethical hacking, is rapidly rolling out new tools tells you just how fast the offensive side of cybersecurity is having to adapt to test these new AI systems.
Right.
And the speed of these developments is exactly why the learning and certifications focus area in the newsletter is so vital this week. I mean, you simply cannot secure or manage a paradigm shift that you don't actually understand.
So where should a listener start if they want to get their hands around all this?
The newsletter heavily recommends reviewing the June 2026 Microsoft Credentials Roundup. The certification paths are being aggressively updated to reflect agentic AI and post-quantum security.
Good.
There is also a recorded live AMA on the Microsoft 365 Copilot app that is highly recommended. It moves beyond the marketing and looks at how users are actually interacting with these tools day to day, which is crucial for understanding the real-world risks and benefits.
It is just a relentless game of upskilling. Let's bring all of this together because we have covered a massive amount of ground today from Andrew Kagan's newsletter.
We really have.
We started with the macro view that 59% of builders are desperate to keep humans in the loop as we shift to agentic AI. We explored how to govern that shift by separating the developer's garage, the Foundry control plane, from the IT traffic cop, Agent 365.
And we saw how those agents are already saving tens of thousands of hours in DevOps, and how Microsoft is carefully integrating them into sensitive environments like Dataverse and Power BI, ensuring they inherit those strict purview security labels.
We unpacked how the underlying infrastructure is evolving to support this massive compute load, from WebIQ bringing internet context to enterprise models, to the app gateway intelligently routing AI inferencing traffic in Azure.
And we looked at how Microsoft 365 is imposing hard cost caps on runaway agents and bringing much-needed relief to our attention spans with those Viva Engage notification delays.
Yes, thank you for that one, Microsoft. And finally, we faced the reality of securing this entirely new world. We navigated the immediate real-world threats of compromised agent skills taking action on our behalf, and the looming, very real deadline of post-quantum cryptography in 2029, driven by that harvest now, decrypt later strategy.
It's an incredible amount to process, but bypassing the noise and staying informed on the actual mechanics of these tools is the only way to thrive in this new era.
It really is.
And I will leave you with a final thought to mull over.
All right, lay it on us.
We've spent this entire deep dive discussing the friction of humans trying to govern autonomous AI agents.
Right.
But if 2026 is the year we finally build the traffic cops to manage these systems, what happens in a few years when the sheer volume of agents exceeds human capacity entirely?
Oh, wow.
What happens when these long-running autonomous agents start having to govern, audit, and police each other?
Now that is a thought. When the traffic cops aren't human anymore, who programs the radar gun?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of enterprise tech. Keep learning, keep questioning how the tools actually work, and we will catch you next time.